Hello, everybody, and welcome to the newest indoor adventure in Ghosts of Saltmarsh, the Isle of the Abbey, Part 6. It's been quite a while since we last played, but today is September 26th, 2019, and you are loved. And that is something that we like to tell our viewers every time we stream, which is Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And hey, if you are interested in hearing that message, as well as, some roleplay content, feel free to check out our VODs at youtube.com/indooradventures, or you can check our audio cast out anywhere that podcasts are typically found. We also have our Patreon set up, so if you're interested in joining us for an after show called Nights in the Courtyard, where we answer questions not only from the community, but also from each other, feel free to go to patreon.com/indooradventures, possibly sign up there. Also, say you support us on Twitch, say you are joined in with our Discord, and also support us on Patreon, and you're looking for additional ways to support the show. Have you considered going to bit.ly/adventuremerch, where you can pick yourself up either a hoodie, a t-shirt, a mug, a poster, all sorts of things. Currently, that is linked through our Streamlabs. However, the Streamlabs merch store will be shutting down at the end of this month as we move to Teespring, which actually has more options. We can more easily make ham pants, including maybe pants that just have ham printed on everything, which that sounds relaxing to wear to me. Now, with that, let us go. Let's start this whole dang thing. Hey, Dingo, who are you playing tonight?
That's a good question. I'm Dingo. I use she, her, and I am playing Hish Sunguard, the half-orc fighter who uses he, him.
And Reeves, who are you playing tonight?
Howdy, I'm Reeves. I use he, him, and I'll be playing Ulman Dark / Ham, who use he, him, and they, them.
And
Boy! I'm Cyber. You can see me playing Albus the Clashter Bard. We use he, him. I thought this was a sign-off. Good night, everybody.
And KyleWithAnN.
Hey everyone, it's me, your girl, KyleWithAnN. I play Jilfa'en Lyrandar, who is a half-elf cleric of and we both use she, her.
I am the indoor adventurer, he, him, and tonight I shall be your dungeon master. So, it has been a while, so we are going to do a little bit of a recap. Last time we joined our heroes, they were stuck on an island that had a small dedicated church to Tharusdin built atop it. Of course, a lot of you found out that there was an aboleth who dwelt below, that they referred to as the Endless Lord. And upon Jill's resurrection from the dead, you all decided that you were going to take some time to really, not feel like you just got resurrected from death. As well as in bringing Jill back to life, you had promised some of these cult members safe passage back to the mainland. The following day, Albus ended up finding out that there were Chul that lay beneath this here temple and became very interested in finding out more about that. At this point, a lot of you ended up going down the pathway for the Winding Way, where after a series of trials, a false treasure room, you were able to finally arrive to this last remaining room, which you believed to be full of treasure. And it was at that point that you heard the clattering of large crustacean-like legs as a Chul, much larger than those that Albus you had seen previously, also opalescent and white, ended up coming into the room. However, it looks like they have a gimp leg and one of their clawed hands does not move. But as you arrive, it looks at you and in deep speech says, "The master has returned."
Oh my god, I'm not ready to fight anything else. We're going to die.
No. Mind link with it. Tell me, are you the only one of your kind here?
I had to survive somehow.
Did this boy eat the rest of them?
Make an insight check.
But God. Natural one.
You're
I
not
don't want to
sure.
believe it.
And it kind of shuffles a little bit closer to you until it is about 20 feet away, and then you see as it tries to bow down as best as it can.
How long has it been?
And it asks, since what?
Central Master.
He
Central
left
Master
us.
left.
20 years ago, we have waited. Waited for his return. He does not speak to us. He does not reach out. We believe there was folly in his ways.
And you would be right.
It is reassuring to see a true master return. Though you smell like food. Why do you look as though you are food?
I seek your previous master.
If I knew where he was, I would inform you, master. I would go to them myself and ask
Instead,
why they left.
Instead, will you go with me?
Where will you take me?
Somewhere where your master is not tainted.
Will there be food there? Are there others like me?
Young ones.
And it just nods towards you. The young must know how to hunt. I can teach them the old ways.
The food there is under my protection.
Even the food beneath the waves.
We'll establish boundaries whenever we make it there.
And it just seems to release a kind of shriller noise of acceptance at this. Just...
Can someone tell me what the fuck just happened?
This guy was left here all alone. But he's the only one left.
Okay, so 4 against 1. That doesn't seem so bad.
No, we can't kill it.
Why not?
Come.
Well, personally speaking, I don't think I have anything left in me to kill anything.
Okay, 3 against 1 then.
It doesn't pose a threat to any of you.
It looks a little threatening. just a bit.
To be fair, it's not actively attacking.
And Hish, as you say that it looks threatening, you see that it is trying to go back from this more kneeling position to a standing upright, but it seems to have difficulty even getting its own legs under itself.
Oh boy. All right, so we mercy kill it or leave it?
We get it out of here.
Like out of the building and then just let it wander?
Sure. I was going to bring it to the beach. Allow it to actually make its way back out to sea.
I would like to insight check that.
Sure.
This is my plan. I don't want to bring it on the boat with us.
Oh God, I thought you were bringing it on the ship. That's why I was going to insight check you. I'm still going to do it.
Okay. So, Indoor, would I roll persuasion or deception? Because I fully intend on it making its way to Saltmarsh.
Oh my God.
Make a deception.
Okay. I don't get advantage on that.
What's my insight? 6 plus 6, 12. Please tell me you rolled lower than 12.
I rolled a 7.
So, Albus is saying that he is going to bring it to the beach and then let it go its own way. As to which beach he is referring to, he's leaving that particularly separated from the conversation as a whole.
Albus. You do not intend to let that thing follow us back to our home, do you?
I do.
Why?
Because the last aboleth that lorded itself over this jewel allowed it to remain here for 20 years, starving to death. I don't intend to do the same.
And what does it eat exactly?
Jewels don't just eat people, right, Indoor?
Okay,
No.
you were saying that in character.
Good way to preface it.
As far as you are aware, no, Chewels do not just eat people. They'll eat pretty much anything that has meat on it.
Various kinds of meat.
That is so extremely vague, Albus. It does not provide any comfort or
Isn't-
confidence.
That's as specific as I can be. They do eat various kinds of meat. Typically whatever they can find. I have told it that the people of Saltmarsh are off limits.
And what of those that live below Saltmarsh?
They will also be off limits.
Albus, I am trying, but at this point, I am having a hard time taking you at your word.
I can't lead this creature to fend for itself.
Not helping.
Whatever was lording itself over this place, this thing was really bad. Like,
And what
actually bad and crazy. I
Like a-
don't I don't intend to leave this place the same mess that we found it.
We will bring it back to this beach, and in the meantime, I will think about this.
Very well, Captain.
Did we get here what we actually did we get what we actually came here
we,
for?
we
Okay.
didn't. We didn't.
Well-
there is no treasure. There's this thing, which I guess Albus was looking for.
You guys are currently in a treasure room.
made of wood, right?
The last
No,
ones
we left
were.
that room.
You left that room and you made it to a different room that is full of urns and chests, and looking through it, there is quite an abundance of gold.
Oh, just kidding. Then yes.
Let's open this shit up before anything else comes to kill us. And let's go somewhere and maybe just like rest for a really long time.
You know, that sounds like the most delightful suggestion I've heard in like weeks, actually.
All right, let's open the bags up. We are scooping the shit in.
Okay.
Yeah. Hish opens the bag and he is grumbling about missing the chowder ale at this point.
Okay. So you guys end up finding 480 gold pieces. Do we want to leave it to the Hordes person to write it all down? Okay.
And while we were scooping everything up, I was also asking the Chul to help us like gather it.
Okay. Yeah, the Chul is definitely helping you out on this one. Thank you, Phoenix Vic, for reminding me about the overlay. We'll take care of that momentarily. You then find so it's 480 gold, 1,200 silver, and then 1,000 gold pieces in gems and jewelry. And then you also find
Remind me how much silver. I'm sorry, 1,200.
1,200. Then you also find 5 bolts of rare silk that are worth 100 gold pieces each.
Okay. Why am I having a hard time finding where to add custom? There we go. Okay, so we have bolts of silk.
Okay, and then 2 potions of healing.
Okay.
A bag of holding. And finally,
Back of holding.
a breastplate made of mithril.
Oh.
By the end of this, are all of us going to be outfitted with bags of holding?
I don't know. Probably. Your Hordes person has one. You have one. You now have a third one. Although your Hordes person's one is tied to your job, but...
Can you remind me? So there was the bolts of silk, and then there was the gems valued at what?
100 apiece.
100.
Or it was 1,000 in gems and jewelry, so we'll say 3 gems worth 250, and then a piece of jewelry worth 250. That will be dealer's choice. What do you think Hish finds that would be like, ooh, this would look fancy on me? That is what you could have.
I don't think, if I'm being honest, I don't think Hish is paying much attention to like the finer details. He's just cramming it in the bag.
Let's say it's-
Other diamonds! Get diamonds!
Sadly, there are no diamonds.
Shit!
All right. And that is the treasure that you find within this room.
Okay, I think this, all things considered, was fairly successful. Let's go. please.
Okay.
Are we going right back out the way we came? Safest, probably.
Making a whole bunch of left turns.
I mean, I wrote it down on my hand. It's like pen marks. Wow. Ink marks.
you could honestly just have it look like scarring on your hand because you have a gelatinous form.
Yeah. It's just a weirdly detailed map.
And thank you for the follow, Newman Ross. You're a cool person. I am sure to believe so. So, you guys are making your way out of this tunnel, out of the winding way, and along the way, it seems like this your new Chul companion is actually doing a lot to help maneuver through the way. It seems like they are much more familiar with the directions that you need to go in order to make it outside. But at this point, they lead you up to the exit that you guys had initially entered in several hours ago at this point. And upon exiting out, there is some trepidation by the Chul as it reaches the barrier between the winding way and the rest of the Abbey. And it seems to look over at you, Albus, for confirmation.
I'll nod.
Okay. And at that, you see it brings a couple of its steps out, and then it, seeing as how there's no ill effect to it, no one's immediately trying to kill it for leaving its location, it then very quizzically begins to kind of follow behind you. It follows much closer than probably the rest of your party members are comfortable with, or would be comfortable with if it was following them, but this is like a lost puppy to you. This is very much like, "Aw, I'm sorry, big guy." And at this point, the members of the cult are all looking at this creature as it is walking by, and one of them comes up to you, just, Brother Albus, it's, and he just seems to be
really
like,
not polite to point.
He brought it out on purpose.
and then he makes like a smashing in motion with his fist.
Nobody is in danger.
Okay. And you see that the Chul just sort of looks down at this figure, and the tendrils underneath its mouth just sort of frill up a little bit, and the guy shies away and just backs off.
Don't eat these people. Yeah.
And it just sort of rumbles at you, and then the rest of you find your way to the surface at this point, exiting out of the temple. And at this point, Osmandius is standing outside, seeming having just got back from the beach, and he looks at the lot of you and just, "Oh, Brother Albus, I see you made the friend that you were trying to be reacquainted with."
I did.
Will the children of the Endless Lord be joining us? The child, rather?
No. They will be going elsewhere.
As you will it. We've loaded everything up onto the ship as best we could, thanks to your friends Tabitha and Scramp. Now I came back so that way we can all make it through the beach safely. Then once, of course, we return to the mainland, our debt will be paid. This way. And the lot of you do navigate rather easily at this point through the sand dunes, kind of following along with Osmandius's footstep until eventually you reach the beach, and you see that there is a boat. Tabitha is currently rowing back by herself. It seems like Scramp realized that he was not doing much to help out with this, and since there were going to be more people on the dinghy, it was just made more sense for her to just be on her way back. And at this point, Osmandius says, so soon, and so long to this place.
Good riddance.
Yeah, you said it. Hish, when Tabitha reaches shore, I think he sort of claps her on the shoulder and climbs in.
I think Jill takes a moment to kind of just like look back and like stare, kind of thoughtfully out onto this beach and out into the church, I guess, or the monastery in the distance. And then once everyone's loaded up, she'll just kind of like nod, I guess, and turn and get on the boat.
I will have a very long conversation, telepathic conversation with my tool friend, and tell them where like Albus spends his time to wait for him there.
Okay. And through this extensive conversation, you also learn that the Chul was given a name at some point, which is very unheard of for most Chul. But it says that the name that it was given was Hayatel Kita.
Hayatel Kita. Okay. Can I get a spelling for that?
For sure.
In the questions for the courts chat?
Of course you can. It then nods that yes, it can meet you at this location.
Don't eat anything that has two legs.
And it nods. And at that point, the rest of you see as this Chul just sort of dives into the water and then begins to swim away.
And then I'll join everybody else on the boat.
Okay. And eventually you make your way back with the dinghy, get pulled on to the ship itself, and you begin your 8-day journey back to the sleepy town of Saltmarsh. Along the way, you aren't accosted by any more of these Sahuagin creatures. It seems like this initial assault that had come at you was actually... it seems like you had kind of taken care of the main ambushing forces with the 30 Sahuagin that had tried to have their way with you on your initial outset, but you do not end up encountering any more of them, which makes things relatively easy for you guys. Then there is one thing that does end up happening, which is... Jill.
Shit.
Your new friend, Osmandius, would like to have several words with you. Seeing as how he understands that you are relatively new at what it means to be a follower of Tharizdin, but he will hopefully be able to divulge any kind of questions onto you if you are in need of answers. He will be there to provide them. And towards the end of several days, as he is kind of both explain to you in relative detail what should be happening in terms of like clerical duties and things like that, which it sounds like a lot of gibberish to you. You have your own way of doing this, and based off your interaction with Tharizdin, like, it's probably fine. But what you are given by Osmandius. He actually comes with what looks to be a kind of black velvet wrapping, and when he unveils what is beneath, you see that there are 3 incredibly ancient-looking tomes that printed on the first is a spiral pattern. On the second cover, kind of embossed into this old leather, you can see that there is the depiction of chains being broken, and the third cover is just black. And what Osmandius explains is that these books were kept at the monastery for ages. Long before his time did these books exist, but with the proficiency that you have shown towards your attunement to this deity, Osmandius believes that you are the rightful owners of these books.
Are you sure you want to give these to me? This is your order's, I don't know, history.
It's part of it. Others are part of a grander plan, which this old man would be too weak to ever carry out. But there's still hope with you, Jilfa'en.
Very well then.
We
I
can't trust Bayleaf to do everything.
look over in Bailey's general direction.
He's there. He totally heard, but meh.
She'll just kind of be like, why does this one not have anything on the cover? Just kind of rubbing the smooth black one.
Well, each step of the way, from what we can tell, the covers have revealed themselves. Originally, there were 3 books. Then, when, well, the Endless One began, the first book's cover revealed itself to us. Then we heard a sound, a glorious sound, the sound of links breaking. That was when the second cover revealed itself to us. As far as I can tell, it's a guide on how to hear those sounds again.
I see. So the third cover has not yet revealed itself to you for whatever reason. Interesting. I'll have to give this a closer look. All of these. Thank you. I still feel bad to that you feel the need to give this to me, but yes, I'll look it over.
Do not think of it as a need. Think of it as a gift.
Very well, then.
Safekeeping. And he just sort of like pokes his head a couple times and then excuses himself from the room.
Okay. Yeah, she'll take those heavy tomes back to her room and we'll probably start reading them over the course of this trip.
As you open them, it's like when you see text that is misprinted and has more text coming in vertical aspects of it, and it looks incredibly difficult. It doesn't necessarily follow any particular style of language, but as you continue to look through it, you start seeing bits and pieces that you do understand. So what this will be is that you now have a Documancer's challenge. You know that you have a way of understanding how to decipher these books, but it is going to take you some diligence and some time in order to actually do so.
Okay. Yeah, I will take that challenge. as it arises, since I seem to have a lot of downtime.
Okay. So, for this, I would like for you to make either a religion check or an insight check, and then add an additional set of proficiency for your documancer's tools.
Okay. So I think I'm going to go with insight and then add another +3
Yes.
proficiency. Cool. So that's plus 11. I can do math.
Would you only work on this in your room?
Yeah, I would imagine so. 16.
Okay. So, looking through the first book, it's difficult because you are basically trying to break out a cipher that you find in here, as well as find the words and strings of thought through this jarbled language. But the first tome, you actually make it through about a quarter of it at this point by the end of your trip, and what it reads is basically the creation of Tharizdun as people know him today. In that, when he started off, he was one of the better gods. He, in the same way that Lathander is very much a sun deity, and is the essence of goodness in the Forgotten Realms, Tharizdun was this at a time. But during a situation where he wanted to spread that goodness and that greatness, he was tempted and failed in his temptation, and as a result had a shard of infinity shoved into him. It was from this point that the abyss occurred. From the pain and the blood and the sacrifice of this god created the endless layers of the abyss. Layers that, through this cyclical style of insanity, has generated hundreds upon thousands of countless numbers of demons. And you also know that there are other things that Tharizdun has done that aren't necessarily talked about in public settings. It is patterns. In the same way that you can start seeing different patterns in the same way throughout life, you can see these same kinds of patterns coming from Tharizdun's existence. The circular pattern that is on the side of snails, the circular patterns that are ferns that are unfurling themselves, the same way that the sun rises and sets and loops around the plane. You know that this is Tharizdun's presence. And that is what you get from your first quarter into this book.
Great. Oh boy. Love this for me. Yeah, I will spend most of my time on the ship reading it. However, at some point I do want to have a conversation with Ulman.
I'm always in the kitchen.
Okay.
Or if you don't come out of your room, I would bring food to you, so it'd be pretty easy to grab me.
Okay, sure. So maybe one day you're bringing me food because I'm holed up in my office. And I think Jill will just kind of like stare for a minute and be like, Ham, can I see Ulman?
Yeah?
Let me bring him out. I need to see him.
Oh! And he, hands Ulman to you.
And she'll take the dagger and start actually closely inspecting it and looking at the mark.
How's it going?
Shh. It's odd, really. You have this mark, yes?
Mm-hmm.
And shortly after you got this mark, you acquired some new power.
That was the timeline, yes.
something's not adding up. You see, I've had the unfortunate displeasure of being around clerics of Umberly. I myself, for a time, was a member of that order, but I've never seen anyone of that sort who gained such power from Umberly do the things that you do. But yet, there's nothing. Like, it looks the same. It's the same mark. It's just.
What do you mean, do the things I do?
Your magic looks different. Also, sometimes I see when some of the things die, you kind of, you know.
Look, I've got no idea. To tell you the truth, like, I can't really say that I'm casting anything, because I don't feel anything when that happens.
So, okay, well, do you feel when you plunge your daggers into someone or hit them with a hammer? Do you feel that? Or do you just not feel, you know?
I mean, I feel the feedback of the hammer hitting someone. Like, I experienced that in this body, our body, but I myself, as a dagger, don't feel anything when the magic happens.
Like at all?
At all.
So, it's not coming from here? She says, just kind of like taking the dagger and just like trying to like get into the light and expect it further. Just like,
You could ask Ham, we could see right now.
Ham?
Yeah?
Can you do just like a little bit of magic, like right now? Preferably something that won't mess up my space.
He looks around, looking really confused. He's like, hit me?
You want me to hit you?
Yeah.
Like with my fist?
Maybe. Is there anything stick-like in your room?
I have a warhammer.
He points at your hammer. With the hammer!
Ulman, is this a good idea? This doesn't feel like a good idea.
I think I know what he's getting at. He has created shields before.
Okay, I'm going to hold you. I'm also going to hold the hammer. She'll like go and like this whole time just gonna be like muttering and be like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And she goes to get the warhammer and just kind of like swings at Ham.
As you swing, Ham like apparates a shield from his arm and blocks the hammer as it swings down.
As I'm doing that, is anything happening to Ulman? Like, is he lighting up? Is he like?
It does not
sparkles.
It does not appear so.
That's very curious. I have no explanation for this. Sorry, let me hear him, and we'll give Ulman back over.
I don't really have any explanation either. Ulman says as like the dagger goes back in the hilt.
I thought that perhaps if I could figure out more about you and your mark, and perhaps how your magic works, I could try and help. But it's not anything I've seen or experienced. So
Feels like the rest of my life.
Is someone fighting down here?
oh, no, Captain, everything's fine.
Are you sure? I heard a smash.
We were testing something.
I think
A
Hish,
theory.
Hish comes in. Wait, Ulman, are you still separate from Ham? Oh, okay. But yeah, Hish comes in and like looks at the two of you.
The way I said that really made it much more intriguing, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
We were testing my magic.
Well,
And
I don't
well,
know if it's your magic.
Yeah. Sorry, I use me for both of us sometimes. It's kind of hard.
Understandable.
But Jill had me over there on the other side of the room. Me dagger me, and then was hitting Ham with the warhammer, and he shielded.
So he's okay.
Yeah,
Ham is.
didn't take a scratch.
So Ham's a wizard.
Well, I don't think Ham has ever read a book, no offense.
Wizard, sorcerer, warlock. If I'm being honest, I don't know the difference between the different magic users.
Well, it's certainly not divine. At least I don't think it is.
Are you sure? Because, you know, I really think that Ham has a paladin's air.
Well,
Ham like swells his chest, looks extra burly.
See?
well, it's certainly not coming from Umberly, which, is a good thing.
Well, if it's not coming from Umberly and it's not coming from Ulman, then clearly there is something magical about Ham.
But why now? It doesn't make sense. There's no... what could be considered the trigger doesn't appear to be the trigger. It seems that... Here, Ulman, let me see you again. Take the trigger. It has nothing to do with this. It's not related, but it doesn't make any sense.
I think Ham just looks at you and says, "Magic is easy."
What? Okay, so Ham, what do you do? What goes on in your mind when you cast your magic?
Well, after Jill and Albus cast, I saw just wave hands, say words, magic.
Yes, that's exactly what it looks like to me as well.
I mean, yeah, they're not entirely wrong. But there's an explainable source for magic. And this cannot be explained currently, as is.
Jill did make an assumption, though. Have you read a book, Ham?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a start. Which book?
An anen anatomy
All right, this is not
and
in fact promising.
Pretty Man.
Oh, so you read like a romance novel?
We read anatomy books. I say to you, Jill, to figure out how to form a body, he had to like learn how it all worked, and well, he liked how the romance protagonists looked. So
He says they were definitely reading smut.
what?
And then she'll give the dagger back.
Ham, what you do on your own time is none of my business.
Is the book out by any chance, Jill?
Sure.
Steven,
Yeah.
can Ham read it?
Which book? Jill's book?
The tome.
Oh. He can.
Ham walks over to the book and picks it up and says, "See? Ham read right now." And
Ham,
reads
that's
it.
a little... Oh.
And clear as day does Ham recite the words from the book with absolutely no difficulty in reading them.
That took me several hours to do. Ham, are you busy?
He looks at the dagger in your hand.
Oh no, I give you back.
I mean, if you want to do something, I could. Well, I don't know. I guess I'd just hang out here with you. All right, him not busy.
Whenever you're free, I think I could use your help with this.
Yeah, him can help.
And she'll just kind of like look at Hish, just kind of like with confusion on her face.
Yeah, he's just confused right back. He goes, "Do I even want to know?"
Maybe Albus knows stuff about magic. He might have a perspective. I'll have to ask him later. Ham, and she'll like start like going to wherever she was at the book and be like, okay, we start from here.
Before you begin, Jill, just a quick question before I go take care of the rest of the ship things. Did you perchance, while we were in the monastery, did you pick up my mug?
Oh, I'd completely forgotten about that. One moment. And she'll go over to her things and will produce 2 pieces of the mug and just be like, one moment. And we'll kind of like clasp her hands together. And you'll kind of see like the spiral light up a little bit. And as she opens it up, the mug is whole again as she casts mending.
Yeah, Hish kind of smiles and he says, I was going to use this as an opportunity to teach my son about apologies, but this is much better. Now I don't have to do either of that, and I have my favorite mug. Thank you. And he takes it. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's a gift. Yes, it's a gift. She says almost to herself.
He nods, and just leaves you to your book with Ham.
Yep. Story time with Ham.
All right. So, since Ham is able to just readily read through these novels, these deep books, it does not take you nearly as long. As Ham, again, is just incredibly proficient at reading. He might not have the best voice, but he is a decent orator. And Ulman, kind of looking through Ham's eyes, is also able to see, like, you're able to make out what the books are saying, but it seems like you are only doing this through Ham's sheer force of will.
I make note of that to you, Jill. These squiggles shouldn't make sense to me.
Those squiggles hardly make sense to me.
As in, I can feel that they are made sense because I am using Ham's senses right now.
That's abnormal.
We'll add it to the book.
Right. Okay. Yeah. She'll just put that one back on the back burner for now. Try not to think about it too hard.
Okay. Yeah, so what you end up finding in the remainder of this first book is from Tharsden's perspective. He was injured. He was hurt, he felt like he was dying, and rather than use their powers to save him, his friends, who he thought was his friends anyways, put him in chains and stuffed him in the darkest recesses of eternity. And from there, he has steadily and hopefully been able to reach out to those who would be willing across the plains. And from where the book stands, it is not a tale of necessarily wanting vengeance, but wanting to prove the other deities wrong, that they were right in removing him, that they should be afraid, because he has had an eternity to sit and dwell on all of this. Albus, what are you up to?
Cyber's up to existential dread. Albus has been speaking into his whisper jar, taking notes of everything that he's learned about Skothka, Hayatel, Keedith, and the cult of Tharsden that was making its home on the Abbey.
Okay.
And then not really doing much else.
All right. So when you are about a day's journey away, you end up getting a message that actually comes back from your whisper jar that says, information capacity at 90%. Please return your current whisper jar to headquarters to receive a larger jar.
All the memory in the world. Itty bitty living space. All right. Fine.
Okay. And then Hish, one of the things that you notice on your journey back to town, and now that your number one dad mug has been repaired, is that whenever you pour liquids into it, they always seem to have a slight current within the actual mug itself, and your liquids just seem to spin gently to the left.
My sugar has never never dissolved quite so easily in my drinks. This is great.
auto mixing cream. What else could you want?
Exactly.
You're welcome.
Self-stirring mug.
Truly the bestest mug.
On the few perks of worshipping, the imprisoned god of madness.
Mm-hmm.
Listen.
Wait, can you mend my pots so that they all stir themselves? Damn.
It's possible.
Is this something that you would like to attempt to pursue?
I mean, I don't know about the mug unless I see it, but you usually eat breakfast in your room, not in the kitchen, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, there was a mandatory team meeting or team dinner that you all determined to be held once every 7 days.
That's correct.
So, Ulman, I would like for you to make a perception check. And you can use your obviator skill as well, as this was food related.
18?
With an 18, you notice that even when the liquid has gone into Hish's cup and starts to turn to the right, just from the natural flow of the liquids, you see that it then kind of pauses and will just steadily align itself to turning left.
When did your mug get so fancy? I don't remember doing this.
Fancy how? Think he's just reading a book or something.
The swirling.
Oh. Must be the boat.
I think he, throws the cup of coffee out the window. He's like, no, watch. And he pours it into the cup, leaning it in a direction so that it'll, try to rotate the other direction, the way that it naturally should go. And it stops itself and begins to rotate the other way.
Yeah, Hish cocks his head to the side and sort of snaps his book closed. Huh. And he looks up at Jill.
Pointedly looking at plate and stabbing and eating food. Just,
Did you curse my favorite mug?
why would I curse your mug?
To just be slightly annoying? Because that seems like something you would do.
No. It was a kind gesture.
It was a kind gesture to curse a mug.
No, I didn't curse the mug. I used a very simple spell that, granted, I learned fairly recently, to fix the mug. However, if you're not satisfied with the mug, I suppose I can break the mug. If that makes you happy.
Actually, I was curious if you could get the same effect on my pot. That way it would stir itself, and I wouldn't have to worry about it burning as much.
Do you have to break the pot first?
I think you have to break the pot first.
You have a warhammer. We can do it when we're back, but
That sounds kind of fun.
It does sound kind of fun, actually.
I apologize for accusing you of cursing my mug. But to be fair, does it not seem like something you would do to curse something to just be slightly annoying?
No, it's not.
Your other
Believe
hirelings
me,
are loving
people.
this, by the way. They see that the highest ranking members of their local branch are just bickering amongst themselves, talking about joke curses. They're like, ha, that's something Jim Dark Magic would have done. And they just seem to kind of have these asides to themselves watching the lot of you.
She's just gonna be like, I should have never ripped up that contract. Next time we get to port, I'm finding another ship.
Yeah, Hish just chuckles to himself and pours creamer back into his coffee.
Okay. Sounds good. So the rest of your trip ends up going by uneventfully. It seems like your hirelings they're getting the hand of running the ship at this point. And eventually, you end up making it back to port. And at this point, there doesn't seem to be any welcoming committee for you, as there was no real way to signal your arrival. But you find yourself in town, and you can either directly go to this port, or you can go to the Ack headquarters. As you know that it is several miles outside of town, and that's the easiest way to then take care of the jobs that you have been given. And so, which would you guys like to do at this point?
Hish would go to Ack headquarters to wrap up those jobs and get paid as soon as possible.
Sounds good. So,
dot all the I's as fast as possible.
Get this stuff off my ship. Get these contracts done.
So as you arrive, you see that they have actually built a lighthouse along the side of this larger building, and you're fairly certain, especially upon entering inside, that the lighthouse's circular stairwell that they have actually leads up to the different floors and begins in the underground section that you guys had previously unexplored during the first set of during your guys' first outing together as a small nubile team. It is during this time that you end up going to your secretarian to turn in your job, and you see that it is none other than Oceanus, who currently has his hair tied back into a ponytail. He has very thin glasses on his nose. He is not wearing a shirt, and he is sitting at a larger desk, and you guys bring in all of your things. And he looks up and says, "Hail and well met, friends. It's been so long since we've seen you, Albus."
It is such a relief to see you. It has been so long. You would not believe the things that we did.
Well, I
that
guess...
ship. So many spiders. Worse than the spider room.
Has anybody touched the spider room?
Infinitely worse than the spider room.
We have used the spider room as part of interrogation processes.
No. And Albus walks up to the spider room, and he intends to just viciously mock, dissonant whispers, psionically kill all these bitches.
Okay.
I want none of it.
All right.
Loth is angry at me.
That's fair. So yeah, Albus, you just nope and then walk away. And Oceanus says, well, it'll be a few days yet, as we will need to confirm with the owner of this strongbox that this is what he was searching for. But if everything pays out, well, congratulations. You've done this branch of service. I actually do have a few things that I have received from head office in regards to the lot of you. Hish Sunguard, and he pulls out a piece of paper and says, it has been determined that you have done well in storing and maintaining the hordes of Acquisitions Incorporated, Team Salt Bay, and, well, head office has determined that you are to acquire rank 2. Congratulations.
Excellent. It's very easy. You just put things in a fanny pack and call it good.
Then he just sort of shrugs his hands and nods and says, well, our documancer was also already rank 2, so congratulations, Jilfa'en. I don't believe I got to say it to you in person, but good job.
Thank you, darling.
And Ulman, it says here that you and Ulman, Dark, and Ham, which I'm assuming is the two of you.
I didn't sign Ham on the contract.
Okay. So just Ulman Dark has reached the rank of Obviator, rank 2. So congratulations, and Albus, I suppose, has reached rank 2 Loremonger as well. Would you mind letting him know?
We can do that. Certainly.
What exactly does rank 2 mean for the for the bunch of us?
Well, rank 2 for Horde's person. You will be able to essentially just give us your address where you are currently residing, and we will ensure that you maintain a wealthy lifestyle, and that those of yours, of course, that you care about at this location can also maintain a wealthy lifestyle.
I have to give you my address?
Yes. And your sending stone number, but that's for something completely different.
You're not going to spam call me.
Oh, no. I would never do that. Not at all.
Inside.
Yeah, you can insight check it.
Yeah, let's do it.
27.
Got a 9.
Hish, you feel like he might give your number away. Jill, you know that he was joking.
Okay, she will look deadly serious. Just kind of nod.
We will be having an evaluator come down tomorrow to present all of you with your updated gear. Hish, we have made the request to turn your fanny pack into a living fanny pack. So it will be slightly sentient, and it will be connected to the rest of the Acquisitions Incorporated Horde. Should you need any gear, such as armor or weapons, feel free to utilize the fanny pack to simply pull it out of our stores.
When he says sentient fanny pack, I think Hish leans like towards Jill and Ulman and says, Did I ask for that?
It's part of the contract.
Is it that it's sentient? That it
No, it's very much in the contract.
This is incredibly strange. I have no clue.
Hish sort of leans back and just clears his throat. Must have forgot old memories going. But yeah, sounds great. I'm very excited to receive it.
And Oceanus is very pleased with this. Albus, make an Arcana check.
Is this related to anything?
It is related to yo spiders, boy.
9.
It takes you about a half hour to clear out the spider room. It is just you, like, yelling at this room, spiders be gone, and trying to get them to die from vicious mockeries, but you eventually do it. You guys also kind of exploring around your base. You going outside, you see that almost there is a mural-styled painting that is along the outside wall, and it says, "Enjoy the sleepy town of Saltmarsh." And it's almost like a 1950s style drive-in mural. But you see where the sun should be is a large drawing of Omen drawn with these very large sunglasses on, and he seems to be sprinkling something over the town. And as you look closer, you see that what he is sprinkling, it says in very small letters, jobs, opportunity, growth. It seems like these are just business catchphrases that he seems to be gifting upon Saltmarsh.
Oceanus, is there any way we can paint over this?
And he gives you a 1,000-yard stare and says, "This was the one thing that they said we couldn't change."
If we can't change it, we can cover it.
I don't want to be here when the boss comes down and you've covered his mural.
We'll think on it.
But yes, so you end up having your job come to a close. Osmandius and the other, as they describe themselves to the members of Acquisitions Incorporated, missionaries, make their way onto the mainland. They thank you for your service, and they will let you know that as soon as they recover more of their funding from the mainland, that they will be sure to send some your way as thanks. Later that night, returning back to the port of Saltmarsh, as you are all exiting off, you see that there are quite a bit of people that are currently at the snapping line. It seems like it is a more bustling location. Hish, you have not seen the snapping line look this busy in quite some time, but you have some gold coins that are burning a hole in your pocket, and you guys are ready to go enjoy some local delicacies. So, what is everybody getting at the snapping line?
Ooh, I think I'm getting the biggest fucking crab that they have, and the biggest fucking glass of, like, not the chowder ale. I'm not that. I didn't miss it that much, but like a good ale.
Okay.
Better.
Sounds good.
I'm getting the chowder stuff.
Okay.
I am avoiding the chowder ale like a plague. I will buy something incredibly overpriced if it doesn't mean I have to drink the chowder.
Don't order the wine either.
Why not?
The chowder wine.
Oh,
It's also chowder.
shit. I will order whatever has the least amount of chowder.
Okay.
The chowder cider.
Okay.
It only have notes. It only has notes of chowder.
It's basically your standard chowder, but there are little bits of pear in it to kind of have more of like a dry, fruity aftertone. And your drinks are brought forth. And then Hish, there is a little bit of time before your large crab is brought out and you're enjoying it. Everyone seems to be greatly enjoying. There's a night of revelry, and it seems like there's actually a bit of a line that is forming to acquire the chowder ale, this claw wine that has been the most notable piece of delicacy within Saltmarsh that you have actually taken note of.
I think at this point, Hish is like really confused, like really freaking confused, and I think he's gonna like look around and try to figure out what the hell is going on, that all these people want this chowder wine.
Make a perception check, and you can all make
You
perception
got it.
checks as well if you would like.
18.
24.
5.
14.
Okay, so the 18, the 24, and the 14. With those checks, Albus, you are simply enjoying this nice glass of claw wine, not really paying much attention to the surroundings. But the other three of you end up hearing the voice of the owner, a young human woman who was talking. It just seems very almost flabbergasted herself, and she says, "I don't know. It until about a week ago, nobody really cared. But as soon as we started fetching on those green lobsters, everything's been fine."
Green lobsters? I'm more of a red lobster kind of man, but I'm sorry, I'm unfamiliar with what a green lobster actually is.
Well, it looks just like a regular lobster, but it's, just tinged greener. But ever since we switched up our recipe, it's been flying off the shelf.
Does that sound natural? Do you?
No.
Hish, make a history check, and Jill, also make a history check.
Sir,
Or a nature check.
Okay, they're both the same.
I'm familiar with Chul
I got
already.
a 2.
15.
Indoor, what the fuck?
All right, so
Lobster green.
Hish, you aren't necessarily sure about this. You're not sure what this could be referring to. I mean, you've seen blue crabs before. A green lobster, that doesn't sound too ridiculous. Jill, with your 15, you know that lobsters don't typically turn a greenish color. This doesn't necessarily seem, especially around Saltmarsh and in a lot of the port towns that you've been to. Again, occasionally you'll see like some other kind of shellfish with a greenish tinge, but never a kind of lobster. Ulman, as you have said, you are familiar with Chul, and you are fairly confident these people may have been indulging in some of Albus's tiny friends.
Ulman, chokes on his drink for a split second and, slowly puts it down. Looks at you, Albus. And just looks at the party and says, I think I'm more in the mood for the alcohol on our ship.
That's fine by me.
Oh, okay. I guess can I get the crab to go?
Does the crab look fine?
Hey, how's the crab look?
Make a perception check.
Oh God. Not my crab. 18 again.
Hish, you had asked for the largest, biggest, tastiest crab that you possibly could. Looking down, you see, as there are places where you had been breaking apart the shell, you've seen this kind of matte greenish sheen before. And that was on the shell that your son Ollie had shown you several weeks ago at this time. And that is where we are going to go to our break for the evening. So I would like to say thank you to everybody who has decided to stop by and join us on this wonderful adventure through the ghosts of Saltmarsh with our Ack Inc. spin. We're going to try and be back in 5 to 10 minutes, so don't go no place unless it is to grab a food, grab a drink, grab a friend, or possibly go to bit.ly/adventuremerch, pick yourself up something nice, and try not to eat any chul during the break. Until then, see you guys soon. All right, everybody. Bye-bye! Back. We did it. I unmuted everybody. We're doing it the right way. So, yes, Hish, looking down at the crab that you have on your plate, that you are more than halfway done eating, you realize there was a little bit of green on the shell that you had skimmed past before, and Ulman has kind of put a pause on your guys' drinking and celebration in the snapping line, and is instead requesting booze on the ship.
He's looking each of you in the eye with the most dead serious expression you think he can muster.
On second thought, we'll forget the doggy bag. And Hish is just gonna leave whatever gold we owe on the table.
So now as a rank 2 Hordes person that this is an expense. You can just tell them to charge it to Ack Inc. and then they'll pay for it.
That is exactly what Hish does then. Yeah, I think he goes up to the bar counter and tells the bar person, like, hey, Ack Inc.'s got us.
Oh, and her eyes light up and just, that Ack Inc. money? That Omen Drawn money?
The very same.
Your money's always good here.
Perfect. Then I'm sure we'll be back for more green lobster very soon.
And she just nods, and she says, they always do.
Great, cool, great, cool, great, awesome, cool, great. Yeah, Hish is booking it out of there.
And you see that in the time that you went up to go and get this expensed, looking back, It's almost like vultures have swarmed the remnants of the crab that you left on the table. Just members of the bar who are kind of drunk off of this claw line are seeing food that nobody is claiming, and they are just sharing it amongst themselves.
I can't blame them.
Leaving the bar.
Yeah, I think as we're walking back to the ship, Hish sort of leans forward and looks over to Ulman. Something you want to share with the rest of the class?
Albus, did you tell me about the prototool at all?
Indoor, did I tell Ulman about the prototool
I don't
at
think
all?
you've told anyone about them.
I thought you told Hish.
I thought
No,
you
Hish,
also...
Hish confronted me with something, but
With the shell.
But I think I dodged it, or I tried to.
Anyway, I just like look over at you and I'm like, did you know about this?
You're gonna have to be very specific.
The green lobsters.
Albus, make an insight check.
Natural
Crab
one.
didn't look like.
I have no
Right
idea
at
what he's
all.
talking about.
I'm rolling high
Or-
tonight.
Prototool.
Oh, yes, there are some prototool spawning.
Are they related to you?
I think so.
Because that was all prototool in there.
Oh God, they're eating my prototool.
This...
Wait, related to you?
Is this harmful to people?
I don't know.
I'm going to be sick.
I don't remember.
Are those your babies?
Hish barfs. Hish fucking yarps.
Ulman like rushes over to pull your hair back.
Thank you. I'm sorry. This is where this is where I draw the line. And Hish stomps off.
Perhaps I shouldn't have phrased it like that, but the question still stands.
The question was, are they my babies?
Are they your babies?
No. You can think of them as servants.
That's still very bad.
Yeah. I need to find a way to do something about this.
Do you know how fast they change?
Indoor, were some spawning on left lung?
Some were. They
How
never
long
made it
did-
to the full, like, over a period of years, they made it to their full body form, but they were mostly prototool during your time there.
2.5 years.
Even with a timetable about like that, I don't want to present that kind of danger to this town.
Is there a danger?
That large thing we met,
Yes.
that's a tool.
Okay, yes.
In 2.5 years, those green lobsters will be that.
Okay, I meant it from like the meat eating perspective, but now I see how that's also could be a problem considering they eat various types of meat.
I know you can control them, hopefully. It seemed you had that other tool pretty tame.
Yes, it's meant to serve my kind. Um,
I think what I mean is we need to find whatever you're looking for here quickly
yes,
so that you can move on.
yes. Yeah.
In the interim, is there any way you could make them, I don't know, so readily available, accessible, so maybe people can't eat as many?
Maybe if they're being caught in fishermen's nets and everything, they just haven't. They don't know any better. They have to be taught.
Albus looks at you very seriously. Did you really send off the other one? You said you intended to bring it here.
Yes.
Is it coming?
It should be. Yeah. And he'll start going off to where he's at the rendezvous point, which is where Albus usually hangs out.
Okay, sounds good. So, as you take off your coat and all of your heavier clothes and kind of leave them on the beach, diving under the water, looking off towards the direction of where the standard fishing and lobster pot kind of fishing areas for this are, you see that there is this large white chul that is currently going through the process of cutting nets.
He can tell.
And it stops and then turns up at you. I rode along the bottom of the vessel, Master.
Clever. I see you found the others.
They are so tiny, Master. So tiny and frail.
And they don't know better than to be caught by these. I need you to make it so that they don't get caught in all this.
I can teach them the old ways.
The ways that don't involve eating two-legged things.
Will you give us things with 4 legs? Or 3 legs? 1 leg?
I will give you already prepared meat. Already cut meat.
This is acceptable.
Now, Indor, I have a question.
Sure.
Chul in better shape are able to like burrow, right?
Correct.
Could this one possibly what's the matter, girl? Would this one be able to burrow under my house?
If you give it directions on where to go and what to do, it will do this thing.
Yes, I will give it very specific directions, just to like give them a like safe place.
They nod. and it says, "The masters deserve temples. We shall build one in your greatness, master."
And yeah, that's it. I just needed to protect my babies and get them into my house.
Okay, and you see as you are leaving, it uses its kind of its dead claw to kind of scoop some chul up of these tiny proto chul, and it just sets them onto its back, and then just continues to go around just scooping up more of these chul. And then Jill, you and Ulman just see Albus quickly walk off to the beach, throw off his heavier clothes, and just dive in. What are the two of you doing?
I'm going to go check on Hish, maybe?
I was thinking the same thing. I know where their house is.
Okay. Before that, I wanted to thank you for, and Ham, but both of you, well, the collective you, for your help with the book. She just kind of kicks the sand a little bit.
Ulman gives you a big grin and says, "Anytime."
You are more gracious to me than I deserve after how I treated you.
I made a very dumb decision a long time ago, and it ruined my life. So I'm not gonna let some high emotions ruin others.
Okay, then let's just forget this ever happened. She'll start briskly walking forward.
Although, if you wanted to return the favor, I do have some documents. I'd like you to draw a contract at some time.
Oh, yeah, that's easy. That's simple stuff. I can certainly do that.
Cool. Just when we have time. We should go find Hish now.
Yes.
Hish, where are you going?
My home.
Okay, that totally makes sense. And when you get to your home, Ollie is asleep and Talia is on the front porch. She seems to be... she's drinking just water, it seems. She's not actually, like, indulging in any kind of extra substance. She's just sitting out on the porch reading a book, and she sees you, and... she looks up over her book and sees you and looks down, and then just her eyes shoot up. She sets the book down, and she says, "Welcome home."
I think he walks right past, just like eyes glazed over, walks right into the house, leaves the door open, walks into the kitchen, and like in the top shelf of one of the cabinets behind the oatmeal, he pulls down like a bottle of whiskey and rinses his mouth out with it and spits it out.
Outside. The boy's asleep. What are you doing? Come on.
Yeah, he lets her shepherd him back out onto the front porch, and he sits down in one of the rocking chairs.
Welcome home?
What did you cook for dinner tonight?
I cooked potatoes and beef. Ever since you said that we could use an Acquisitions Incorporated discount at the General Trader, I've just been going there. I mean, they really have everything. Gloves, meat, vegetables. Nice cloak. We got Ollie some new shoes. Seems to be loving them very much.
Right, new shoes. Are they the ones with the little the little fireballs on the side?
The red ones, yes.
I'm glad he got his new shoes. The seafood though. Did you purchase any of this? There's word around town going around about green lobster.
I thought about preparing it as a welcome home meal for you. Should I not do this thing?
I would recommend not. Just avoiding seafood for you and Ollie.
Well, I mean, that'll be easy. The boy doesn't like it on his palate anyways.
He doesn't?
Not for a while.
Well, you used to eat shrimp all the time. What happened?
Okay, let's be fair. Shrimp isn't really seafood. Those are just tasty mini snacks.
Well, they're basically ocean chicken nuggets when you think about it.
It's really true. Just little snackers.
Please don't call them snackers. We've talked about this.
But that's what you're supposed to call them when you bread them, fry them, and then serve them up.
I thought that was called butterfly shrimp.
Have we been... Alright, so I guess that argument from 3 years ago is honestly invalid at this point. It is the same food. But
anyway,
why? What is something the matter? I mean, you told me, not to eat it. I'm assuming that you must know at least something about it.
Oh, nothing. It's just that I might have consumed a piece of Albus's children tonight, and who knows how that came about. Who knows what he's doing out wading in the water every night, spreading his... to the wildlife.
You ate a baby?
I didn't... I might have.
What do you mean
I
you
don't...
might have? You either know you're eating a baby or you don't know you're eating a baby.
Keep your voice down.
So you don't know if you ate his baby?
I don't know. I didn't stick around to get an answer.
That seems like something that you should really stick around to find out an answer for. Is if
I'm sorry, I was too busy yarfing up a green crab.
His babies are crabs?
Maybe they're jewel, but they're also infecting the rest of the wildlife. As I think.
What do you mean infecting?
I don't really have a better way of describing it.
There is a lot of speculation happening in this. I'll take your word for it. We won't eat any of the green lobster. But you should really find out if you ate a child.
Please don't say that.
If you ate an albusling.
That's worse. I will find out on the status of my soul. In the meantime, it would make me more comfortable if you did not consume seafood.
Of course.
Or at least, if Ollie didn't, you're a grown-ass adult, I can't tell you what to do.
Look, that doesn't mean I don't appreciate the heads up.
About the baby eating, I'm sure anybody would appreciate that.
Yes, the fewer babies this town could eat, the better we would be for it.
The strange part is that people were flocking to the snapping line like it was... I don't even have a comparison, honestly.
Well, maybe it has something to do with their new menu. I never was much one for going to the snapping line, but...
Do you remember when that breakfast place opened, the better one?
Oh, yes.
The opening for that, where everyone was lined up around... It was sort of like that, but for the snapping line. And it has to do with this green lobster. They're obsessed with it, which doesn't sit well with me.
Well, I would assume not, seeing as how you yarfed. But no, it started happening 10 day and a half ago. Just they started getting more and more business. I'm not sure. The priests of Valkyr have been saying something about it, but they usually look to a strong wind as a sign from their god of storms. I didn't really pay much attention to them. No one in this town usually does.
Why would you?
All right.
What do I do? What do I do, Talia?
One, find out the truth.
Yes, I got that part about the...
Two, you could tell me what happened while you were out. Did you do it? Did you sink the Duke?
I think Hish, his head falls completely into his own lap, and he sort of puts his hands on the back of his head, and he says, I had almost completely forgotten in this whole Albus tool mess. They were in there.
Who were in there? Your old crewmates? I thought you said that they had died. That everyone in the ship went down.
I thought they had. They were all there. I mean, they weren't them anymore. They were undead. And I guess
you don't have to say any more if you don't want to.
None of them died, Talia. They thought I died.
So
they landed on an island, and they either wound up as food for a tribe of cannibals, or they became cannibals themselves, or both.
9 hells. I'm sorry.
I am too. But they are at the bottom of the ocean now.
And hopefully that brings them rest. And that the gods find mercy on them.
One can only hope. Also, a earth-shatteringly large octopus attacked us.
What? Like attacked you specifically?
I mean,
what did you do to anger the octopus?
Okay, well, first of all, I didn't do anything to personally insult this octopus, and I'm offended that you would think I would.
Hish Sunguard. I want you to look at me And tell me that you've never done anything that would anger an earth-shatteringly large octopus.
I'm not going to look at you, and you sound exactly like your mother right now.
Oh, well, that's just... now you're being ridiculous. And as she's saying that, Hish, that is when you see Jill and Ulman hurriedly walking up the street towards you. Aren't those your friends?
Yes, that's Jilfa'en and Ulman.
Is he the one that's the slime?
Yes. Dagger and slime on the inside, beautiful man on the outside.
Fascinating.
Hish stands up and looks kind of quizzically at the two of you as you approach. How do you know where I live?
You told me.
I didn't.
You literally pointed your house out to me.
Right, forgot. Memory's not what it used to be.
I was looking forward to coming here on better terms, but hello, I'm Ulman.
Yes, Ulman, Jilfa'en. This is Talia.
Hello?
Ulman, Jilfa'en.
Can I offer you all something to drink?
Sure.
Honestly, I'd love it. Yeah.
I'll be right back. And she just recedes back into the house.
Hish kind of at her as she's leaving. The whiskey, please.
Was already planning on it.
Thank you. The one further behind the oatmeal.
And you just
The
see
brown sugar
a
one, not the
hand.
apples one.
You just see a hand extend out of the door with a thumbs up and then recede back.
She knows what I mean. She'll get there. My apologies. Talia is much better at the warmer welcomes. Welcome to my home.
Thank you.
Sorry to make a house call like this, but looking over to Ulman.
I wanted to clear some things up. You ran off at a really inopportune time. That was a really sarcastic comment. They are not his children.
And
They
you,
are...
You hear from inside the house, "Oh, good."
I'll wait till she's back out.
No.
Maybe she knows. You
Oh.
obviously just told her, I assume.
We may have been having a conversation regarding the possible consumption of Albus's children. So if they're not his children, what exactly?
They're not his children.
They're...
Because I distinctly remember you screaming in the street, "Are these your children?"
Okay, I had a little bit of a misunderstanding how Tool worked, but it's better now. So, that thing that we met, in 2.5 years, the Proto-Tool will slowly turn into that.
The thing that's back on the island.
No.
No.
You
I've
know
brought
he said he was going
drinks.
to bring it.
And Talia will come out with 4 cups.
But I think he can use it to keep them all out of people's nets. Like, just completely out of the sea.
Hish takes a drink and says, "Thank you so much, Talia."
That's all that there was left in the bottle, so make it count.
Oh, God.
And she just very quietly passes a cup to Jill, a cup to Ulman, and then she just has one for herself.
You know, a part of me knew that fucking Tool was coming with us. And yet I don't know what's worse. The consuming of these not Albus children.
They're just animals at this point.
Right. Or the fact that they will grow up to be that Tool.
Which is why
And then we will have an infestation on our hands.
Which is why I told him we need to figure out, we being more the contractual, me and him, what he needs to find here, and he needs to move along before they develop any further.
Oh, I would love that. I would love that very much.
Well, that begs the question, where could you two possibly go from here?
I have no clue. Depending on circumstances, I don't know if I would continue my contract. I do like this area. And
It's the
I
best town there is.
have some good friends here. And a pretty good job.
Big sip of whiskey.
Yeah. Hish also takes a big sip of whiskey and folds his arms and says, I have to be honest with the two of you. I'm not entirely sure I'm comfortable continuing hosting Albus on my ship. You can see where I'm kind of between a rock and a hard place. I don't want to rock the boat, so
I
to
do.
speak. But I also, this isn't just about me anymore. This is about what's potentially going to happen to Saltmarsh.
I don't want to put this town into danger.
And I know Albus is trying, and he sort of looks pointedly at Jill. But you can't deny that shit keeps going wrong.
Perhaps there's, a way that we could expedite his search for whatever he's forgotten that he's been looking for and resolve this, peacefully. And I'm sure once he finds what he's looking for, perhaps then he might have better understanding of what he can do with these creatures, and who knows what else he might discover. It's complicated. I don't want to give up on Albus yet.
I know there's a good man in him. I've seen it before. But also, he, if, as an aboleth, is on a whole nother level than our lives.
And Talia just looks at the three of you. You say he has a means of controlling them?
They can speak to each other. Mentally.
That doesn't really put me at ease.
I think I wouldn't doubt that he intends to keep them out of the way under his house. The mansion. The wizard's house.
Is there a tunnel or something underneath the house? Where is he going to keep them? Is he going to march them through the city?
Talia,
I don't think I said anything about my house to anybody.
No.
Ulman is making an assumption based off of what he knows about the house, which he's been to, and he's a magic user. I assume he'll shape the stone.
Who else knows?
Just us.
And Acquisitions Incorporated.
Yeah.
And what is Ac Inc. doing about this?
As far as I know, Jack Squat.
She looks at her whiskey and you see that she just drains about half of it that's in the cup.
Tahalia, if you would rather not be out here for this conversation, I understand.
She nods and says,
I just don't want you to worry.
Ulman, Jill, and then she turns back to you, Ulman. Ham, it was very nice meeting all of you.
Ham just like looks shocked. He's like, oh, hi.
And you see Talia's worried expression for a brief second perk up into a smile. And then she lets out a sigh, and that expression just sort of fades back into worry, and she walks back into the house.
Nice meeting you.
I really hoped our first meeting would be under better light.
Oh, boy. Okay, more whiskey time.
Yeah, Hish sort of gestures for the three of them to sit on the porch, and he says, I apologize, I would move this conversation inside, but sleeping. Family.
Understandable. After that island, I would like to help him move along quickly.
But that's the thing. I don't know where I am truly helping. I don't know where the helping Albus and helping the town overlap, and where, if I'm helping Albus, am I just bringing about more danger? Or am I sort of helping curve the danger? There's no good way for me to.
I do think we're curving the danger.
I don't know that we are, Ulman. I appreciate your optimistic outlook, but even you have to admit that it's only been. I'm at my wit's end.
So, what would you intend to do then?
My gut tells me to make him Ac Inc.'s problem. But I also don't know if I can live with not having a personal handle on the situation. You see my dilemma. I think I would be comfortable if I knew where our line was, where we say we've had enough. Mine was eating children, but since that hasn't been crossed...
Not children.
So is it essentially that they're sort of boiling in an Albus stew, and that's how...
Please don't say that either. I'm also going to be sick.
I suppose the specifics don't matter. I'm asking for your input, both of you, for where your lines are. What are you happy with this?
Ulman is just like staring into the bottom of his cup. I can't say I am anymore. But I don't know what to do. I've been winging it this whole time, and that's kind of my go-to tactic. I wish I'd spoken up more.
Hish nods and sort of gives your arm a squeeze and then looks over to you, Jill.
Well, no one is in any immediate danger. I don't think we've established if eating these things is inherently dangerous.
I'm not entirely worried about the eating of the things. I assume it's not inherently dangerous until proven otherwise. What I'm worried about is in 2 years' time.
I believe that we should give Albus this opportunity to try and locate what he's looking for. I think 2.5 years' time could be plenty if, this was something we really set our minds to do. And then perhaps this situation can resolve itself. But I don't want us to make rash decisions because we are feeling emotional about this. I think there's something good that can come from this.
I also don't want to look back on this moment and wish we had done something. But
what I can say is that with all our eyes on him is still the best place to keep him at the moment. If we choose not to do anything yet.
Hish looks up at Jill and he says, "You are particularly passionate about this. You seem to very strongly believe that there is something in Albus worth trusting.
I think if not trusting, then at least discovering, unlocking something there. And perhaps it can be powerful, and perhaps it can be used for good."
Typically, things that hold great power are neither good nor evil. It simply depends on the whim of the user.
And if we're not nearby to perhaps help guide, influence, shape the way he views the world and people, then who knows if he finds that power on his own, what it could be used for. So why not help him and see to it that it could be used for something good?
Because deep down, I don't believe that Albus is good. Perhaps not blatantly evil, but well, I suppose it doesn't much matter what I think. I trust you, Jill. And Ulman, you're right. The three of us with our eyes on him is the best position we can be in. I don't know where to go from here, but at the very least I feel better having talked about it.
I agree.
The whiskey helps.
Yes, it does. And he takes another sip. We'll help Albus with his whatever it is he's looking for. I have a question for the two of you before we wrap this up. If I make the call for Albus not to return to the ship, am I losing the two of you as well?
Tapping her fingers on the mug. I'm not sure.
I am contractually obligated one way, but I do like my captain a whole lot.
Hish smiles at the two of you, a sort of bittersweet half smile. That's the best I can ask for right now. And I'll understand either way. You are both welcome to stay here the night if you wish, or you may return to the ship.
I'll head back to the ship then. Just kind of gently setting down the mug.
Of course, you finish your whiskey first. Or you can take it with you, honestly. I'll just bring back the glasses tomorrow. But
Downs whiskey.
I'm tired and I would like to sit in my chair and nap.
I am also very tired. I have a little scaly friend who needs some dessert and maybe a little bit of this whiskey and then a nice long nap with me.
Well, you've certainly earned the rest.
The two of you have as well. And Hish hugs the both of you and says, "Thank you. I appreciate the two of you more than you know."
Woman nods. And hey, tomorrow we get to meet your fanny pack.
Oh, yes. We'll have to name it, I suppose, if it doesn't already know its own name.
Oh god,
That's
this
gonna
is
be
weird.
fun.
This is weird.
This is strange.
No, let's go.
Fun dreams.
Okay.
Yeah, Hish says goodnight and heads back into the house, just doing what little dishes there is, and then sitting down in his armchair and folding his arms
Yeah,
and closing his eyes.
When you get in, you also see that Talia has pulled the sheet around her sleeping area, and she has just decided to go to bed. So you find yourself resting. Jill, you are going to go to your room and rest as well. Ullman, you are going to go take a nap with Bims. Albus, what are you doing after having gotten done with speaking with the Chul to get it to teach the young ones the old ways?
So I was gonna go to Jill and ask for help with a certain document.
You know where to find me.
Jill, is there a way to ask for like delayed resource requisition?
Is that like the first thing you say when she opens the door?
Yes.
Okay. I think she's gonna look like a little spooked at first, just kind of like, oh god, like didn't expect to see you there, and just be like,
He's dripping wet.
good question, Albus. Perhaps let's get you a towel first, and I can check.
All right.
DM.
You definitely have one of these forms that is in Ack Ink letterhead.
Okay. I am gonna shoot.
Level 2 Documancy bag allows you to just have these forms on hand. So
Sweet. I will shoo Albus off to dry himself off and be like, nope, too many papers in here. Nope. And make sure you're dry before you come back.
Yeah, he gets dry. Ish.
Okay, so she'll be sitting at her desk and be like, oh, just go sit on the bed. I guess I only have one chair. I have one of these forms here, actually. And she'll take it out and she'll take out her quill and be like, all right, so give me the details.
I need everything that's required to start a Acquisitions Incorporated franchise on the elemental plane of water in 1.5 years.
I think she started writing, and then she just kind of like stops, and then she's just like, I'm sorry, Albus. I want to make sure that I heard your request correctly. You said the plane of water.
Yes.
That is, to my knowledge, entirely water.
Yes.
And you want to open a franchise there?
Yes, the thing that I was specifically requested by Omidran to do.
Okay, sure. I'm personally working through the logistics because, okay, it's what Omen says. It's fine. She'll just continue writing, be like, so how did this idea come about?
Well, I'm a lot closer to finding what I came here for. And I certainly hope I'm not here long enough to let the prototype grow to get fully grown. I don't want to put this town in danger.
That's reassuring to hear. So, your plan is to, 1.5 years time, be running your own franchise?
Yes.
And you think you'll find what you're looking for by then?
I certainly hope so.
Do you still not remember?
I came here to find Skathka.
Okay. And they're still missing?
Yes.
But at least you remember that now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, progress. That's good. She'll keep writing. Anything else you'd like me to include?
Does acquisitions, well, is there like a checkbox or anything on there to requisition something experimental that would be able to incapacitate but not kill an aboleth?
Let me check the extended paperwork. There might be an additional form for weird circumstances. It's like doing
It's gotta be
taxes.
just like a radio button on there. This comes up often enough, right?
You would think. DM.
So there is not a form specifically for the creation of an invention that would incapacitate, not kill an aboleth. But there is a research and development form where you basically describe the size of the invention that you were looking for, as well as what the purpose of the invention should be. And then you know that this is going to be a little bit of a back and forth in that you tell them what you want built. And then the artificers that are through the R&D department will then give you a quote to let you know how much this invention would be. And then you can determine whether or not that is actually something that you would like to pursue.
Okay, you're going to have to explain it to me in more detail, but first, I have to ask, what do you intend to use something like this for?
To incapacitate but not kill an aboleth.
Yes, I heard that part, but is this for your, what, Skothka?
Skothka.
Skothka? It's for that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm just trying to wrap my head around all this. So you want to find Skothka. You don't want to kill Skothka. What then do you want from this creature?
I want it to be contained. Aboleth. An aboleth with religion is a dangerous thing.
Okay.
I don't remember a lot, but whenever an aboleth dies, they don't really. They respawn, I guess is the way to put it,
Okay.
with all of their memories intact. I'm not sure how long it takes or where they reform. But it's not only that, any new aboleth, any actual children, not Jewel, they're born with the memories of their ancestors. All the same beliefs, the same faith. We're talking about an infection.
I see.
if I find Skothka and I kill him, I'm not sure what had happened.
There's just a big possibility that he pops back up again. So, even in this perfect world where you're able to contain Skothka, are you sure there's not some way that... Well, let's take you, for example. Even though you're not what you used to be, you still have a little bit of mental influence. Could you ensure that this aboleth wouldn't be able to do the same?
Do the same.
I mean, even if you capture and lock it up and that's all well and good, would it still be able to, like, communicate and reach out to whoever is worshipping it, and, you know, almost like a god does with its followers?
I'm not sure. Probably. But if we can quarantine it, that's the first step. Or that seems like a first step. I don't know. I've only just remembered that Skothka was what I was looking for in the first place. And what danger he posed to my people.
Well, I suppose if we continue to follow this thread, perhaps you'll gain even more memories back, right?
Right.
Okay. Well then, I would be happy to assist you however I can.
Thank you.
Of course. You're still gonna have to explain this thing to me because it's... I'm sorry, what do you want for this invention thing? And she'll get you to tell her all the details.
Yeah, and he'll explain that, like, he's not specifically looking for, like, an invention or anything, but, like, if there's any, like, magics or anything for just, like, incapacitating a giant psionic catfish in a way where it doesn't die.
Okay.
I'll put that part in quotes.
Yeah, sounds good.
And I'll just... well, here, I'll let you look over it, see if you want to make any changes, but if you're satisfied, all I gotta do is put it in the bag here, and it goes to the office. Whoop.
You've got mail.
And away it goes. All right, so did you guys have anything else that you would like to discuss? Okay, so Albus, where are you sleeping tonight? Are you sleeping on the ship or are you going back to your house?
I'm gonna go to my house.
Okay, sounds good. So you end up finding rest in your house. And it is very late in the night at this point, possibly closer to 2:30 in the morning. And you hear a thudding noise that actually wakes you from your sleep. You aren't able to actually maintain a steady night's rest. And it is a very loud, just... Doof. And then you hear several other thudding noises that sound as if they are a little bit muffled. Also coming from the front of your house.
Do I have like a little peephole?
Looking out of the window on the second floor, you see that there is a group of approximately 15 people from the town that are standing in front of your door. One of them seems to be walking forward and is just bumping up against the front door of your house.
Oh my god, Indoor, what the fuck?
that's when you hear the thudding noise again, and it seems like another individual is trying to walk to the door and just hits up against it and staggers back a little bit and just stands.
I'll go to the door.
Okay. As you open the front door, you look out and you can see that there is this small mass of people directly in front of your open door. And as they look towards you, you can see that their eyes are a light glowing blue color. And they just look at you, and you hear a collection of voices transmit from them telepathically to you. And they say, "You have returned."
What's going on?
Make a perception check as you look out at this mass of people.
17.
So 17, with this, you can see that there are a plethora of people here that are regulars at the snapping line, including the man that you met on your first day in Saltmarsh, the notorious storyteller, and one of the other individuals as well, who seems to be the guard captain of Saltmarsh, Eleander Fireborn, as you have come to know him. And as you reach out and pose these questions to you, or to them, the response that you receive is, "We knew you had returned. We could feel it."
Listen, if you want a seminar or anything, I could schedule something for the morning. But what's going on right now, I really don't need happening.
And they all turn and look at each other. "The master has no need for us." And then they, one by one, begin walking away.
I will close the door and go back to bed.
Okay. And the rest of your night's sleep is unperturbed. And a lot of you wake up the next day. It seems like the individuals who had gone to Albus's house seem entirely normal. None of them seem to be acting in any kind of different way. If anything, they just seem like they are a tad bit sleepier than they would otherwise normally be, but a little bit of coffee, and most of them are sitting right. It is at this point that you all know that you need to start making your way out to the Acking headquarters in order to receive your brief observation and kind of get a general review as to how you're doing upon reaching rank 2. And I'm assuming that the 4 of you make it there at various times. And at this point, after the last one of you has arrived and you're all sitting, kind of being summoned into the foyer of this large mansion that you guys have outfitted to be the Ack Inc. headquarters, Oceanus explains that Omendron has picked the reviewer who he believes to be the most understanding of the situation here in Saltmarsh, and that there is to be no worry, as it seems like the individual who is going to be your reviewer is actually a relative of one of your hirelings. And as Oceanus finishes this statement, you hear a deep bassy sound coming off from kind of farther in the distance. And that is when, like, from outside of the actual building that you're in, and as you turn and look out one of the larger windows that's on the front end, you see that there is a large, black, ostentatious as all hell cart that is being pulled by a horse made of what looks to be bronze plating, almost like a mechanical horse. This is a facsimile of what a horse should be. One might describe it as barely a horse. And as this cart rolls forward, you hear that this deep bassy sound is actually coming from the cart. And it seems to have been, the sound is almost on loop. It seems like this noise that it is bringing with it lasts for maybe about a minute and a half before it ends up replaying itself. And at the front of this cart, you see that there is a halfling. There is an old halfling woman who is wearing very light, kind of pinkish robes. She has white wristbands tied around her wrists and her legs with a large black staff kind of draped to her back. And she's leaning forward and gently patting the horse in front. And as the cart ends up rolling forward, it comes to a stop, and the halfling jumps off, doing what appears to be 3 consecutive flips before landing directly on the ground, arms out, and then she kind of hunkers in on herself with her staff and begins coming forward to the actual doorway of the building. And as you continue to watch, you see that this barely a horse ends up collapsing in on itself. Its back arches up, its legs pull in, and you watch as it turns into this almost sphere like shape that is just made of pure bronze. And as this halfling opens up the door and stands in the doorway, she looks around with this very calm, gentle smile on her face and says, "So which one of you fuckers is on Team Salt Bay?" And at that, you hear you hear a voice coming from down the stairs that goes, "Grandmother!" And Tabitha rushes past you all, and this halfling individual says, there, Tabitha, why don't you introduce me to your friends?" And that is where we are going to call it for tonight's game. So, I would like to say thank you to everybody who decided to stop by and join us on this wonderful Chul-filled adventure. We got all sorts of stuff coming here every single week. So, hey Dingo, where can we find you? What do you do?
That's a good question. You can find me on Twitter at WheresMyDingus. I play tabletop RPGs around the internet. On Tuesdays, I am on Off the Table. That's twitch.tv/off_the-table. Playing Alas for the Awful Sea, where I play Harper McConnell, the creature and the captain, which is another. It's a very sad sea game set in the 1800s. And on Wednesdays, I am also on Off the Table, playing our final season of our Burning Wheel game that's been running since basically the channel started like 2 years ago. We're playing our final season of our Burning Wheel game, Burning Enghelm, where I play Queen Helga. And Thursdays I'm here. I think that's it for right now. Off the Table has 3 podcasts out currently. Two of them are Urban Shadows podcasts that our friend KyleWithAnN is on. One of them is Cape Lorelei. The other one is East Cedo Beach. You can find those on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And then we have a third one, which is a Monster Hearts actual play podcast that I run called Tabled Hearts, which features Summer, Katie, and Steven at Wolf Wizard. I lost my train of thought. It's a Monster Hearts actual play podcast, which is a game about teenage monsters. So you can also find that on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Other than that, I think that's all I have going on right now.
Excellent. Reeves, where can we find you? What do you do?
Oh, howdy. I'm Reeves. You can find me on Twitter at Reeves_bot or on Twitch at the same Reeves_bot. I play games with my friends because it's a great way to force them to spend time with me. On Wednesdays, I play 3 games a week that are chosen randomly from my unplayed library of games, of which there are too many. It will literally take me years to finish this project. All chosen by a co-host. I try to decide if they're worth playing or not. Needle and Haystack. Thursdays, I'm here hanging out with all these wonderful people. And then on Sundays, I'm playing through some Divinity 2 on Tactician mode with some friends and having a great time.
Excellent. And Cyber, where can we find you? What do you do?
Hi, I'm Cyber. I play Albus, the Glacier Bard. You can find me at CyberWolf1201 on Twitter, where I shitpost. Don't go through today's content because it was a little political. But you could usually find where I post whenever I'm going live on twitch.tv/CyberWolf1201, where I play video games real bad. But I talk about lore and stuff because it's fun. We're playing through the very cute Link's Awakening right now, and eventually we're going to get back to Wolf Among Us. And spooky month coming up. It's a good time. You should go follow and tune in because it's good time. All the archives of that go to a YouTube channel, youtube.com/CyberWolf1201, where you can also find the podcast that KyleWithAnN and I do called Let's Talk About It, where we get drunk, do parkour, and talk about RPG stuff that's going on. Like this shit. You can also find some D&D homebrew tutorial or D&D Beyond homebrew tutorials, which there will be more of eventually. And we've got another Let's Talk About It like in the chamber ready for me to edit. It's gonna get up soon. But for RPG stuff, you can find me here on Thursdays. Hey, you found us. You can also find me here on Mondays, where I play that guy, Arjan, the Black Dragonborn Blood Hunter cleric. Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah. And Kylan, where can we find you? What do you do?
Hello, internet friends. My name is Kylan, otherwise known as KyleWithAnN on Twitter and Twitch. Twitter is the best place to get a hold of me, see what I'm up to. So this week, this Friday, streaming some video games on my channel. I'm playing fucking Crash Team Racing, best racing game in existence. So that'll be fun. And yeah, all my other projects have already been promoted, but in case you missed them, Tuesdays, I'm in a Last for the Awful Sea on off_the_table, where I play sad, awkward, drunk lesbian. Thursdays, I'm here. I also play in the Cape Lorelei podcast that's available on Spotify and iTunes and all those places where I play just weird bitchy fae. And then Let's Talk About It, where I get really drunk with Connor and guests sometimes, and we talk about shit. You can find that on where podcasts are available, like Anchor.fm. So yeah, check it out.
Excellent. And if you've made it this far, you probably already know who I am. But if you don't, hey fella, what's up? It's me, your buddy, your pal, your friend, the Indoor Adventurer, the showrunner here at twitch.tv/Indoor Adventures. We do shows like this Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I am still trying to figure out when I'm going to get my 4th day streaming back, because I really don't know. But I got a Gundam that needs to be finished being built. However, that will probably continue when I finally finish moving in to my new place. Also, as a general reminder, we will not be having shows next week on Tuesday or Thursday. because I'm going to be out of town for our dear friend Danae Keener of DanaeKeener.com's wedding. So congratulations to Wings. It's going to be a super fun time. I'm going to be hanging out with Cyber in person for the second time this year. Astronomical. Ridiculous. I am excited to go and do that thing. But sadly, again, there will be no show of this next week. So instead, we're going to have some reruns. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out stuff to do. Other than that, if you are interested in helping support the show, consider going to patreon.com/indooradventures, where you can gain access not only to our Discord, but also to our after show called Nights in the Courtyard, where we answer questions not only from each other, but also from the community at large. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask us, Discord is the easiest way to do that. Otherwise, we will do our best to read through chat as it happens on the Twitch and answer questions accordingly. So with that, I'd like to say, guys, thank you so much again for putting up with my bullshit this week. Thank you to this wonderful audience for coming out and supporting us. And we will see all of you guys next time. All right, everybody. Bye-bye!